Welcome back to FM Storage. We begin season 19 of our South American Glory Hunt save. We managed to secure everything in Uruguay last season with River Plate, so it's time to move on and back to Brazil, see if we can win the Copa to Brazil to finish the save. So without further ado, let's find out where we've ended up at. And so we're taking over at Curitiba. It was the only job that was available. The Corinthians job looked a bit of a nightmare, to be perfectly honest, and that went. And then the Curitiba job came available. They finished mid-table last season in their first season back in the top flight after a season out. And it's going to be tough. But we've got a season with them. We're definitely in the Copa to Brazil. And then if we don't win the Copa to Brazil this season, then hopefully the fact that we're in Brazil gives us a chance at a different job if anything else comes available, if we don't manage to win the Copa to Brazil this season. The media predictions for them to finish 14th. They did finish, I think, 7th last season, although I think it was actually, that must be, I don't know what that was, because it didn't look like that when I looked at the league table for them. There's 10 million to spend in the transfer budget. There's a bit of room in the wage budget as well. And it's definitely going to be a tough task, but I think winning the Copa to Brazil would have been anywhere, given the number of games that are to be played during the season. Obviously, it depends what formation we're going to play. We're certainly probably not going to play the same formation that we did with River Plate last season. They want us to play possession football, so that might suit some of the ways we've tried to play early on in the save. They want to be defensively solid, make the most of set pieces, defensively solid, and play entertaining counter-attacking football and direct. It all doesn't seem to tie together, but we'll give it our go. We've made it to the end of February. We've got our opening game in the Copa to Brazil, the first round, away against a team that I've never heard of before. So we've had a little over a month since we took over here at Curitiba, and things have largely gone pretty well, although given what we've played against, it's hard to tell whether we're actually any good or not. They had already played 2 games before we took over, so they had a 1-1 draw against Londrina, and then in probably the most difficult of the games in the state championship, they won 2-0 at home against Atletico Paranense. We then came in and took over and had a 4-0 victory in our first game, 5-1 in the second game, 4-2 in the third, and then 4-1, 3-1, 4-1, 4-1. So we are flying high in the state championship. We are top. We've already qualified for the quarterfinals. We haven't lost a game, and things have gone pretty well, as we said so far. We did do some work in the transfer market. There's been a few players have gone out who were players that weren't going to be involved in the first team picture. And then in terms of the incomings, we've brought in 5 players. First of all, we brought in Luciano Salama, who is Argentinian-Palestinian, can play centre of defence, defensive midfield. At first, we did think that we were going to play him as a central defender, but as things have gone on, he's now moved more into that defensive midfield role and seems to be doing a reasonable job so far. He came in from Sporting Cristal. We also went back to Sporting Cristal and brought in Rafael Palomino, young right back, looks to be a promising player, and hopefully when he gets a chance to start, he can show his qualities. We then brought in a player who began his career at Curitiba, on loan from Ajax, Diogo, can play wide right, can play up the middle, just gives us a bit of experience and a bit of know-how when it matters, hopefully. We then were a bit lacking in left-back quality, so we've gone to Palmeiras and brought in Thiago on loan from them. He can play centre-back, he can play left-back, ideally he's a left back. He's also pretty big as well, so he could be a threat at set pieces. And then the final player we brought in is a centre half from Corinthians, Rodrigo. Previously had a pretty long spell at Roma and played 133 league games for them, but comes in as a physical presence, and his arrival has meant we've been able to push Salama into the defensive midfield role. Tactically, we're looking at a 4-3-3. We did think about starting with a 4-2-3-1. They played a 4-3-3 in their opening game, so we've gone back to the 4-3-3, allowing Salama to drop in between the centre halves and the fullbacks to push on in support. And now it's time to get the Copa do Brazil campaign underway, and hopefully we can make a good fist of it this season. So this is the side we've picked for the first round. It's the same team that started the last league game. We do have a few players like Diego and like Van Machado who probably would be involved in the first team picture who are out injured at the moment. We're going with the 4-3-3 as we said. They're going with the 4-2-3-1, and hopefully we have too much quality and we can make it into the next round. Jorge Luis goes back to Morales, Salama out to Hiago, Ortega down the left into the box, make a challenge, but he's got it back, cuts it in, and it's turned behind for a corner. Edmar to take it, in swing it to the back post, it's headed clear as far as Ortega. He goes back to Allen, and it's well over the top. And we've got a free kick to the back post again. And it's Elio Nieva, centre half, gets up at the back post, heads home, but it's offside. Another ball into the box. Jorge Luis. Nieva finds Lopez, shot from distance. It almost squirmed past the keeper, but it's behind for a corner. Edmar with it again. It's headed up in the air and away. And they've lumped it long upfield. It's over the top of the defence. They've pulled it back to the edge of the area. And thankfully we got a block on that because that was far too easy for them to go front to back. And they've pulled the corner back to the edge of the area. And after all that attacking we've done early on, we're a goal down. Just, yeah. It's obviously something we need to look at on the set pieces defensively. All right, Hiago with a throw. Comes back to him from Edmar, finds Edmar again. Jorge Luis hits the post. And this is starting to look like it's not our day. Rodrigo into Ortega, he gives it away. Comes back to Rodrigo. And again, and he goes back to Morales in goal. Out to Luis. Played in behind for the run of Allen. He finds the back of the net, but was he onside? No, it's the answer. That is about as bad a first half as we could have had. And we've had plenty of position, plenty of chances. We just haven't taken any of them. And we're 1-0 down. It needs to be so much better in the second half. We sent the same team out at half time for the second half. We gave them a bit of a rollicking at half time, and hopefully they can pick up the performance levels. But nothing much seems to be happening. Rodrigo steps in there. Edmar to Ortega into the box. And we can't hit the target. Right, we've made 5 changes to try and figure out a way to get something from this game. Edvaldo short to Edmar. Tevez shifts it onto his right foot. And it's behind for a corner. Morales to take it deep, up in the air, and behind for a corner on the other side. And obviously nothing came of that. Goal kick for them, long down the field. We've won a header. Morales to Lopez, back to Morales on this right-hand side. Running it, he's at the defence. Cross towards the back post. It's headed only as far as Tevez at the back post. It's slid into over Carriazo in the middle of the box. And we've levelled things with just over 10 minutes to go. And we were starting to panic a bit there. But Morales cuts back onto his left foot, cross towards the back post. They try and hit it behind. It goes as far as Ricardo Tevez. And he pulls it back for Carriazo. And he finds the back of the net. And there we are, full time. And we've managed to make it past the first round, only as the highest seed. And that does not bode well for our Copa do Brasil campaign this season. But at least we're in the draw for the second round. We're now approaching the end of April. And as you can see, we've progressed a bit in the Copa do Brasil. We're in the third round. We've got the second leg coming up against away at ABC. And since we left off, after that rather embarrassing performance in the first round, things have gone pretty well. We've won every game since then. We ended the State Championship League phase with a 4-2 victory and a 3-1 victory. We then beat Vitória 2-0 in the second round. We weren't great, but we had enough about us to get the result. And we were actually pretty decent at the back as well in that game. And then in the quarterfinal of the State Championship, we won 5-1. We won 6-0 in the semi-final. And then playing Londrina in the final, we won 4-1 in the away leg to put us in a really commanding position and won the second leg 1-0. So we've won the State Championship. Great start to the season. Obviously, we've not really had too much of a test in any of the competitions so far. The third round of the Copa do Brasil, we played the first leg at home against ABC. Barbosa with a hat-trick. We ended up with a 4-1 victory and puts us in a pretty strong position going into the second leg. And then we started the Copa Sudamericana. So we won 3-0 away in Venezuela against Deportivo La Guera. And then we've won 5-1 at home against Algas in the most recent game. Unfortunately, Jonathan Lopez has picked up an injury that's going to keep him out for 3 to 4 weeks, and he is probably our best right back. So we've got a bit of an issue there. We haven't yet started the league campaign, although the league has started because of the Copa Sudamericana games. We have tweaked the formation. So after that game in the first round of the Copa do Brasil, we weren't very good at all. So we then initially went to a 4-2-3-1, and now we've tweaked it a touch, and it's now it's still a 4-2-3-1, but we've brought the player wide on the left in one, so we've got two number 10s effectively. Otherwise, we were struggling to get Machado and Carriazo into the team together. But now we go into the second leg of the third round. We've got that 3-goal advantage against ABC. Hopefully, touch wood, that is enough to help us into the fourth round. So this is the side we've picked for the second leg. We made 2 changes to the team that started the last game. Palomino's come in at right back instead of Lopez, and Nieves come in instead of Danildo, who drops down to the bench. So we're going with a version of the 4-2-3-1. They're going with a 4-4-2. And hopefully the 3-goal advantage stands us in good stead here. A corner for Machado to the back post. And it's headed wide. If we could get a goal in the second leg, that would help settle a few nerves. We've had a few over the course of the season, a few Copa do Brasil games where we've given away big leads. Palomino finds Allen, cross towards the back post. Machado nods down. Carriotto's shot ends up being turned behind by the keeper for a corner. Machado across to take it. Aims towards the near post. Rodrigo gets his head on it. It loops onto the top of the bar. And it's been cleared for a throw-in. Another corner. Machado, this time to the back post. And there's Rodrigo again getting his head on it. This time he finds the back of the net. It gives us a 4-goal lead on aggregate, and just got above everyone, powers it past the keeper. Now there was a tie with the Comunero where we were 4-1 up after the first leg, took the lead in the second leg, and then went out on penalties. Hopefully that doesn't happen here. And I thought we got another one there. Machado shot, turned behind for another corner. Machado again with the corner. Again, this one looks like it's going to the back post. Well, near post this time. It's up in the air. Machado again with it on the right. Squared, blocked. A bit of a scramble, and then it's fired over the top. Right, throw in for them deep in our half. Cross is deflected. They've found it in the box. Again, we managed to get a block on that cross. It's still alive. They've hit the woodwork, and we've headed it behind for a corner. It's an in-swing, it's in the near post. We've got a head on it, and a Cariazzo looking to bring it clear, and nothing comes of that for them. Goal kick for them. And goes long. They've got the flick on. 2 of our defenders just stopped, and thankfully he didn't hit the target. What were they doing? Right, 1-0 up at half time, 5-1 on aggregate. We could do without a few less scares like that last one where they got the flick on, and then our defenders just decided, do you know what, we'll let them have a shot. Machado's picked up a knock, so I think he can probably come off, and we'll see what we can do in the second half. Right, we've got a touch defensive with the substitution. We've taken Machado off. We've brought on Murillo and dropped him in alongside Salama and George Luis in front of the back four. Thiago with a throw for us. Murillo finds Thiago. Ball towards the back post. Allen's header, and it's over the top. And Thiago with the throw. Murillo back to Thiago. He gives it away. And looking to play their way out. And they've got it up to the halfway line, and there's spacing behind us. We've managed. Murillo's won it back. Thiago to Cariazzo. Driving forward with it out to the right to Allen. Cuts in field, drives into the box, looks for the bottom corner, and the keeper turns it behind for a corner. Cariazzo to take the corner towards the back post, up in the air. Palomino got his head on it and landed on the roof of the net. Right, we made a couple of changes to get some fresh legs on the pitch for the last 15-20 minutes. Right, Thiago with a throw deep in our own half. Gets it back from Rodrigo to Murillo to Cariazzo. Thiago now on the left, back to Cariazzo. Trying to drive in field, loses it. And then a ball over the top. Looking to get the ball, and it went backwards again. Managed to find a pass into the box, and again they couldn't hit the target. I think we've been quite lucky with how wayward their shooting's been, because that's 2 or 3 good chances, and if they manage to take them, that puts a completely different complexion on this scoreline. Jorge Luis goes back to Morales in goal. Goes out to Danildo. Down the line, looking for Diogo. Pulls it back to the edge of the box to Jorge Luis, who goes down, and the referee's given a penalty. And it's Rodrigo, the centre-half, stepping up to take it. The keeper saves it. He has scored a penalty this season. Tevez in the box. Shots deflected into the arms of the keeper. And there we are, full time, 1-0 on the night, 5-1 in aggregate, and we're safely into the 4th round of the Copa do Brasil. And there we are, the end of the episode. Season 19 started pretty well. We haven't lost a game yet, and we've managed to make it into the fourth round of the Copa de Brazil already. We've got 2 seasons left, 1 trophy to win, and hopefully in the next episode we can make it into the quarterfinals. Join us then to see if we can do that. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.